The name of her video that I'm going to be talking about is called Young Ladies, Let's Talk About Having Multiple Baby Daddies. I'm going to play that here and then come back.
Can I have a conversation with you ladies? Now, I don't talk about anything that I haven't been through, but let's talk about multiple baby daddies. And I'm going to speak to the younger girls right now that are having multiple baby daddies. And you're wondering why you cannot get a good man. Well, first of all, it's people out here that teach their kids, their sons, not to deal with women that have multiple baby daddies. I mean, they're to be with one woman and they're to have all their kids by that particular woman. Now, you got 4, 5, 6, 7 different baby daddies, and it's for the men too. But right now, I'm just chilling with the women. All these baby daddies, and then you sit up there and you expect a man to come and rescue you when you made a lot of bad decisions. First, let me tell you how multiple baby daddies look to a really good man. It looks like you're inconsistent. You do not like to commit. You're spontaneous. You have unprotected sex. And you're very selfish because you're not even thinking about the kids. You have 4, 5, 6 different baby daddies. That's 4, 5, 6 different personalities in one household. And what if one baby daddy wants to take care of the kid more than the other kids' fathers?
Woo, I ain't buying them kids no McDonald's. Ain't that what that brother said? He said, this McDonald's for my kid. She said, what about the other kids? So you start running to that situation.
All bad. And that's one thing, you know, I love when sisters like this come on, and you got to start getting a little granular, because if you ask me, I feel like, you know, every modern woman that's a baby mama and she claimed that proudly, you know, she acts like no one can see how bad her situation really is. She acts like people can't see the squabbles between baby daddies and all this madness, and that little bad rugrat telling the new stepdaddy that, you know, you ain't my daddy. No, we know these things exist, and want to know why that don't work and why it's usually, if not always, a recipe for disaster, because that man can't find peace in that household. And one thing a man needs is peace.
Yeah, you tapped it on the head, Willie. And then, I mean, every point she made in that video is, I mean, speaking for the guy and looking for. If more women took that approach of what she was saying, like, hey, listen, I'm not single anymore. My value changed, which means my standards have to change, right? You can't go in this thing thinking like you don't have to lower your standards. Yes, you do. It's called being reality based, man. You got to be in reality. So, you know, I applaud that sister for saying what she had to say, because she's looking at it from the man perspective. And one of the deeper things that she touched on when it comes to personalities, you got all them type of personalities in the household. That's a mixed bag of cats right there, man. It's like it's self-destruction, man.
And when you got to understand, so that's not an issue. Having all these personalities in the house is not so much an issue when you got a sorry punk ass nug in the house. He gonna go with the flow. But when you got a dominant, ambitious man in the house, it ain't gonna work. He must have structure in order to live out his purpose and make things go smoothly, to run a tight ship. So having talk back from anybody, it could never work. Have one of your baby daddies knock on the door trying to ask and request and make demands. Violence.
What do we get when women say my kids are good? Men say, well, if a man come in here, do we got to take care of the kids too? They say my kids is good. You ain't got to worry about that.
Hey, okay, good question. They always start talking out both sides of their neck. They say, I don't need no man take care of my kids. We good over here. And give a couple more questions, and we see it on our Kindle reviews. Right, the other side of the neck, they're gonna say, you know, I'm looking for somebody to be a father figure or an example. It, as Mike said earlier, when the man come in, he commit to this. He know I got to be in this kid's life. A real man gonna say, I must be in this kid's life. I got to be here for this kid. Now he a part of me, but he ain't. And
is there a threshold? What's the threshold? I think one kid not so bad. We talked about this before. It's once you start compounding this. Obviously, like you said, it's never a good deal. But then you see a woman say she got one kid, and everybody's culpable to making one mistake, right? So, it's when they show up 3-4 deep, and they still talking about they want this man making $100K. But even with that one kid, that's rough. What's your take on that,
but
Mike?
it's more logical though. Like one kid, we understand mistakes happen. None of us are perfect. And we got to draw a hard line at that one kid. That one instance should be instilled in your brain. Don't ever under no circumstance do that again. Don't ever go through those hardships having to go through this. But when you come and you didn't learn the first time or the second time or the third time or the fourth time or the fifth time, and you still demanding high value, you look insane.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, a kid. I always advise, man, like don't deal with single moms, period, man, because like it's about supply and demand. There's more women out there than men who has their shit together. So you can find good women who don't have those kids. Just plain, point and simple. But but men, sometimes those mistakes happen because in today's modern society, most men are desperate for sex, right? Men between the ages, this is a report that came out in 2021. Men between the ages of 18 to 31 are abstinent or virgins. So you have a quarter of the population who ain't fucking, right? So when they get some pussy, oops, you know what I mean? Oops, you know what I mean? So that's when them joints happen, right? So and then in that instance, maybe it'd be conducive for a man to take on, a woman with a kid, maybe one. But I always advise them it's better to just not deal with those women because there's more women out there in the sea, so to speak, man. There's plenty of women out there who don't have kids, man, who so don't even deal with those single moms, right? But then again, you gotta if you're only looking for, let's say, for example, only date black women, not me per se, but if a man's out there looking for to date black women, then you just understand it's a 70% chance you're going to deal with a single mom out there, right? On top of her being overweight plus 30% obese. So the chance of you finding a black queen, you better be like the Passport Bros, take your ass over out of America. So you won't find that one, or you gonna go somewhere in Montana to find one of them jokers, but anywhere along those coasts, it's a rapper, son. So, it's an interesting dynamic in terms of where the roles at in terms of modern dating, man. Like men is not looking to date or commit to a single mom. They do it normally out of necessity, not a want. You know what I mean? Because if you give a man what he wants, he's gonna be fucking bitches. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna want that to commit to. So.
You know what? Go ahead, Gab. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's gonna hit on beauty with Shay here real quick. She's my stepdad came into my mom with 3 children, girls at that. Still to this day, the best man she ever known in her life. Just helped her with her second car. They got together in 2002. Here's what I'll say: being a stepdad, and back in the day was a sort of an honorable thing. Man got some respect. I think today, anything since the internet's come along has been diminished and diluted. So,
there's no context to that. I know she personalized it. Exceptions don't make the rule, right? You can't be solipsistic to a point where you're taking your own personal experience and reflecting reality. Good for her, fantastic. However, though, the majority are not and don't want that, right? And then also to give context to that, back in those days, women were women. They wasn't on the strong boss babe, independent bitch. Like they wasn't that. Otherwise, I can guarantee him the stepdad's not taking on her and 3 children.
Beauty with Shay is funny because I know someone personally that he married a woman who had 3 girls and he has no kids, still has no kids. And he married this woman. They've been together and married, I think, as long as I've been alive. And I'm sure she would say, he is the best man she's ever met as well. But she done played out on him. She ain't give him no kids. And he ain't saying that she the best woman he ever met. So I'm not saying that that's your case, but it's funny that you made that example, because I know a very similar example, no relation to me, but the woman says the same thing, but the man is crying the blues on the other end. Not saying that your stepdaddy is crying the blues, but like Mike's saying, exceptions they're not the rule. They're not. And that's good that it works out. But as we also say, I could almost guarantee that your mom was kind, submissive, and your stepfather had rule over that house. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, like she was saying, she's not disagreeing. She's just saying back in the day it was definitely different. Like we agreeing. You know, before Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and women were twerking every day for like, you know, a morning stretch, life was different. Women were more respectable. That y'all held yourself to a higher honor, higher standard. And nowadays, y'all don't stand for nothing. Not every woman, like I said, we don't want all police to come in here. We speak in majorities, overwhelming majorities in most cases. So
there you go, Beauty with Shay. She let him be the man. And that's what a lot of these modern women with kids will not let him do. The thing to do, a man comes in taking care of 3 kids, say, you got this is your house. You are the leader. We follow your lead. These your kids. You shall discipline them as you see fit. I about guarantee your stepdaddy have to go to her to ask to discipline y'all, not necessarily physically, but to discipline y'all and have order in the house.
Yes.
Because today that ain't the case.
There's men that ain't allowed to collect the Amazon box off the porch without asking you. Say, hey, baby, we got a delivery. Can I get the box off the porch? You know what I mean? There's still men that ain't allowed to use. He ain't allowed to use the butcher knife. I can't use the big knife in the house.
Yeah,
I gotta ask. Can't turn the stove on. You see what I'm saying?
Can't touch the thermostat. We've seen can't touch the thermostat. Can't get the mail out the mailbox. I'm trying to tell you. So yeah, things ain't the way they used to be. That's for daggone show.